CBS Channel 5.
Tonight, a potential new escalation in the war in Ukraine. The Kremlin claiming Ukrainian rockets hit a fuel depot inside Russian territory. For the first time since the invasion, video circulating online shows Ukraine allegedly launching an airstrike with helicopters on the Russian side of the border. The attack happening as peace talks between the two countries resume today. And inside Ukraine, the grueling effort to evacuate an estimated 100,000 citizens from the ruins of Mariupol. Dozens of buses turned away again. Ukraine's President Zelensky revealing he fired two top generals, calling them traitors. And two very different moments. A crowd outside Kyiv celebrating the liberation of their city by Ukrainian forces, while villagers in another part of the country pay their respects to fallen Ukrainian soldiers. James Longman in Kyiv tonight. Back here at home, the ABC News exclusive. Oscars producer Will Packer taking us backstage the moment Will Smith assaulted Chris Rock in front of millions of people. His immediate reaction watching it unfold and what Chris Rock may not have known before making that joke about Jada Pinkett Smith. Food prices soaring at grocery stores and restaurants, inflation at its highest in 40 years. Beef, poultry, eggs, and fruit all costing more. A family of four now paying more than $200 extra for groceries every month, an increase of more than 30%. Outspoken Republican Congressman Madison Cawthorn under fire from members of his own party. The wild claims that have some Republicans ready to support his primary challenger, Rachel Scott, on the Hill tonight. Former U.S. soccer star Hope Solo arrested. Authorities accusing her of drunk driving, resisting arrest, and child endangerment. And a historic first tonight for some Amazon employees, something that's never happened for them before in the U.S.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. It's great to have you with us on this Friday night. I'm Whit Johnson in for David. And we begin tonight with a potential escalation in the war in Ukraine. Russia accusing Ukrainian helicopters of violating its border, attacking an oil storage facility inside Russia. Ukraine not confirming or denying the charge. And tonight, Ukraine is saying its armed forces have retaken control of more than 24 cities and towns as Russian troops have pulled back. Russia's Ministry of Emergencies releasing this video of the oil depot on fire in Belgorod, about 20 miles from Ukraine. In these verified videos posted online, you can see two airstrikes in the distance there. And in this one, helicopters flying near where those strikes hit. And tonight, new images of the destruction in those towns that Ukraine has taken back. The Kyiv suburb of Irpin, a ghost town. Nearly every home shattered and burned. But it's far worse in Mariupol, a city Russia has said it won't leave. Russian-backed soldiers waging urban warfare. And the city under rocket fire for weeks now. 100,000 people are still trapped there with no food, power, or heat. A Red Cross evacuation convoy set out for Mariupol today with dozens of buses, but they were turned back. ABC's James Longman leads us off in Kyiv.
Tonight, an astonishing admission. Moscow saying Ukraine carried out this airstrike on fuel depots inside Russia. That's the first time Russia has admitted to an attack by Ukraine since the invasion began. In these videos posted online, watch as missiles, apparently fired from two helicopters, rain down on the fuel tanks. They're located some 20 miles from the Ukrainian border.
Flying low to evade radar, the helicopters make their escape. Ukraine's defense ministry spokesman later saying he could neither confirm nor deny that Ukraine was responsible. This as peace talks continue. Ukraine's chief negotiator telling ABC News that negotiating positions change day to day depending on battlefield gains or losses, which makes talks, quote, extremely difficult.
Ukrainian forces claiming to have beaten back the Russians in towns and villages across this country. Despite consistent shelling, like at this airport near Kyiv, Russian troops have moved back from the capital. These areas show the closest the military got to Kyiv compared with today. But Ukrainian President Zelensky acknowledging that the situation in the south and Donbass regions remain difficult. Further complicating his war efforts, the president has fired two high-ranking members of the Ukrainian Secret Service. In his latest address, he called them traitors.
And in Mariupol, the nightmare continues. Russian-backed soldiers laying waste to the city with grenade launchers. and terrified citizens shelled. Here, wandering through the aftermath, streets now littered with rubble. For days, a large evacuation for the city has been stalled, the Red Cross saying arrangements and conditions made it impossible to proceed. At Chernobyl, from which Russian troops have now fled, officials say that radiation levels around the decommissioned nuclear plant are normal, although movement of heavy military vehicles may have caused higher levels of localized radiation as Russian forces left the area.
We heard about the possibility of some personnel being contaminated, but we don't have any confirmation about that.
Outside the capital, a Ukrainian patrol have recently recaptured Irpin. There is still danger here. Now a ghost town of burnt-out buildings, residents who stayed described the horror they witnessed. It was very scary, Lilia says. I was frightened when the Russians came to check things out. I thought they'd execute us. Lilia and her son Artur were afraid to leave during the Russian occupation. She says now that the Russians are gone, the city is quiet. When our army came, then I fully understood. We have been liberated, she says. It was happiness beyond imagination. In recently liberated Ivankiv, a local official posting this photo showing joyful residents posing with the Ukrainian flag. The victories, though, are hard won. The price, heartbreaking loss felt across the country. In Lviv, funerals held every day for fallen Ukrainian soldiers. 3 families laying their brave sons to rest. This a family's goodbye. More lives lost in defense of their nation.
Extraordinary loss just over a month into this war. James Longman back with us again tonight from Kyiv. And James, you're learning more about what happened to those Ukrainian generals President Zelensky fired?
Well, this is the first time President Zelensky has commented on these 2 generals, both of whom have now been stripped of their command. It's understood one fled Ukraine before the invasion began. It's not known where either of them is now, but President Zelensky did go on to praise Ukrainians who are still defending their nation.
James Longman, our thanks to you again tonight. A great week of reporting for us. Back here at home, and new revelations from our ABC News exclusive. Producer Will Packer, who led the first all-black Oscars producing team, opening up to TJ Holmes about what happened behind the scenes after that shocking slap, what he says about why Will Smith was allowed to remain in the audience, and what Chris Rock may not have known about Jada Pinkett Smith. Here's ABC's chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman.
Tonight, the producer of the Oscars, Will Packer, revealing that like millions of Americans, he thought Will Smith striding onto the stage was part of a gag.
I thought this was part of something that Chris and Will were doing on their own. I thought it was a bit. I thought it was a bit like everybody else. I knew we hadn't practiced it.
Not concerned.
I wasn't concerned at all.
As he's walking.
I figured, okay, you know, he's going to say something or come at him. Something funny is going to happen because that's the nature of Chris and that's the nature of Will. So let's see what happens.
Uh-oh. What actually happened, he told our TJ Holmes, was no joke.
Oh, wow. Wow. Will Smith just smacked the out of me.
That now infamous moment coming after an unscripted joke about Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith's shaved head.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Pinkett Smith has been open about her battle with alopecia. A longtime friend of Chris Rock's said he did not know about the condition. After that slap, Will Smith's reaction...
Keep my wife's name out your mouth!
I'm going to, okay?
brought reality crashing in.
Once I saw Will yelling at the stage with such vitriol, my heart dropped. And I just remember thinking, oh no, not like this. And Chris was keeping his head when everybody else was losing theirs.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
And even then, says Packer, he needed to verify that what he and millions of others had just seen was real.
I said, did he really hit you? And he looked at me and he goes, yeah. He goes, I just took a punch from Muhammad Ali, as only Chris can. He was immediately, you know, in joke mode, but you could tell that he was very much still in shock. And he was telling me, I'm fine. Let's just get past this. I'm getting out of here. I can't believe this happened.
The LAPD already on the scene for security, then speaking to Chris Rock in Packer's office.
They were saying, this is battery. We will go get him. We are prepared. We're prepared to get him right now. You can press charges. We can arrest him. As they were talking, Chris was, he was being very dismissive of those options. He was like, no, I'm fine. He was like, no.
The Academy says Will Smith was asked to leave, but that he refused. But once there was no arrest, it would have been the Academy's decision to physically remove Smith.
A lot of folks immediately were wondered why he got up, walked that far, assaulted somebody, went back to his seat and was allowed to stay.
Right.
What was the conversation behind the scenes?
Shayla told me that they were about to physically remove Will Smith. And I had not been a part of those conversations.
Packer says he didn't speak directly to Will Smith that night, but he did talk to his publicist.
I said to the publicist, the Academy is not going to remove him. And she looked at me and said, thank God.
As for Chris Rock, Packer says he helped everyone make it through the rest of the night.
Because Chris handled the moment with such grace and aplomb, it allowed the show to continue.
Chris Rock saved the Oscars that night? Did he save the show that night?
I think he did. I think he did. He certainly saved what was left of it at that point.
So he says Chris Rock saved the show. Matt Gutman joining us now. Matt, the question, though, has Will Packer talked to Will Smith?
Apparently he did. Packer says that Will Smith reached out the very next morning, apologizing and expressing his embarrassment over the incident. Of course, Will Smith also apologizing to Chris Rock, posting on Instagram that he was out of line and that he was wrong. And which is moments ago, for the first time since Packer made these comments, we heard from a source from the Academy saying that Packer does not speak for the Academy. Whit.
All right, Matt, with those new developments, thank you. Next tonight, your money. The rising prices affecting every American family. Inflation at its highest level in 40 years, and wages aren't keeping up. Food prices soaring at grocery stores and restaurants. The grocery bill for a family of four up over $200 a month. That's 30% more. Here's ABC's Alex Perez.
Tonight, new data shows employers are on a hiring spree. 431,000 jobs added in March. Unemployment dropping to 3.6%, the lowest rate since just before the pandemic. But all that overshadowed by soaring inflation, now at a 40-year high.
I know that this job is not finished. We need to do more to get prices under control.
Today, a family of four can expect to pay $200 more on the cost of their monthly groceries than last year. That's a jaw-dropping increase of more than 30%. Cost of meat up 14%. Eggs up 11.4%. Fresh fruit more than 10%. Here in Chicago, demand at this food pantry is at an all-time high. More than 6,000 families coming here for groceries in March, up 20% from January.
They're having to make choices between paying their rent or paying their utility bills and putting food on the table.
Among them, Elsie, here with her 3-month-old Carlos and her social worker Carla. Even with her husband's full-time job, the family says they can't afford to go to the grocery store.
All the other costs have been increasing, so now they're struggling.
And with making matters worse for consumers because of those high production costs, many manufacturers are downsizing and shrinking their products, but not their prices, leaving many paying more for less. Whit.
Alex, thank you. Next here, a rising young Republican star is now under fire from his own party. North Carolina Congressman Madison Cawthorn, the youngest member of Congress at age 26, making stunning claims on a podcast about the sexual behavior and drug use he says he's seen in Washington. GOP colleagues now calling him out, and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy saying the freshman lawmaker was not telling the truth. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
He's the youngest member of Congress, a rising star in the Republican Party, a leading Trump supporter speaking at that rally on January 6th.
My friends, I will tell you right now that there's a new Republican Party rising.
But tonight, Republicans say that after a string of controversies, Congressman Madison Cawthorn has finally crossed the line with his claim that people in Washington, presumably GOP lawmakers, invited him to sex parties and used cocaine.
I look at all these people, a lot of them that I've looked up to through my life. I've always paid attention to politics, guys that, then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, well, hey, we're going to have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me to come to? Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy. Yeah. Or the fact that, there's some of the people that are leading on the movement to try and remove, addiction in our country. And then you watch them do, a key bump of cocaine right in front of you.
House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy, who has been reluctant to discipline other members for making outrageous comments, summoned Cawthorn to his office for a scolding.
He's lost my trust. He's going to have to earn it back. He's got a lot of members very upset.
McCarthy telling reporters Cawthorn did not tell the truth.
He claims he watched people do cocaine. No, then when he comes to tell me, he says, he thinks he saw maybe a staffer in a parking garage from 100 yards away and tell me that he doesn't know what cocaine is. It's just frustrating.
Sources say the Republican leader asked Cawthorn to publicly apologize, but so far, Cawthorn has refused. His Republican colleagues infuriated. What did you make of those comments?
Well, irresponsible. Irresponsible.
What he's saying can't possibly be true.
I just think it puts us in bad light.
Both of North Carolina's Republican senators say they will not back Cawthorn in his upcoming primary, calling him an embarrassment, saying he lacks the most basic standards of a congressman, but he still has one big name in his corner, and that is Donald Trump, who announced today that Cawthorn will be a guest at his rally in North Carolina.
Rachel Scott on Capitol Hill, thank you. The CDC today announcing it's ending a Trump-era policy that limited asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border to prevent the spread of COVID-19. With COVID cases dropping, the policy known as Title 42 will now end May 23rd. Homeland Security Chief Alejandro Mayorkas says the administration is ready with more staff, more resources, and more vaccines. DHS says they are currently seeing some 7,000 migrants every day, but after Title 42 expires, that number could climb to 18,000 per day. And a major victory for organized labor tonight. Amazon workers at a facility on Staten Island have voted to form a union. After the results, organizers popped the cork on a bottle of champagne. Amazon is the nation's second largest private employer, and the Staten Island Fulfillment Center is its first in the U.S. to unionize. The company said they are disappointed and they may file objections. When we come back here tonight, former U.S. soccer star Hope Solo arrested, accused of alleged drunk driving, resisting arrest, and child endangerment.
If you have advanced non-small cell lung cancer, your first treatment could be a chemo-free combination of 2 immunotherapies that works differently. It could mean a chance to live longer. Opdivo plus Yervoy is for adults newly diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer that is spread, tests positive for PD-L1, and does not have an abnormal EGFR or ALK gene. Together, Opdivo plus Yervoy helps your immune system launch a response that fights cancer in 2 different ways. Opdivo plus Yervoy equals a chance for more time together, more family time, more time to remember. Opdivo and Yervoy can cause your immune system to harm healthy parts of your body during and after treatment. These problems can be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have a cough, chest pain, shortness of breath, irregular heartbeat, diarrhea, constipation, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, dizziness, fainting, eye problems, extreme tiredness, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, rash, itching, confusion, memory problems, muscle pain or weakness, joint pain, flushing or fever. These are not all the possible side effects. Problems can occur together and more often when Opdivo is used with Yervoy. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions, including immune or nervous system problems, if you've had or plan to have an organ or stem cell transplant or received chest radiation. Here's to a chance to live longer. Ask your doctor about the combination of 2 immunotherapies, Opdivo plus Yervoy. Thank you to all those in our clinical trials.
This is a hero walking his youngest down the aisle, which to his bladder feels like a mile. Yet he stands strong, dry, keeping the leaks only to his eyes. Depend. The only thing stronger than us is you.
Next tonight, former U.S. soccer star Hope Solo arrested in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. She's accused of driving while intoxicated, resisting arrest, and child abuse. Police say her 2-year-old twins were in the car with her when she was pulled over. Her lawyer saying, quote, "The story is more sympathetic than the initial charges suggest." She won 2 Olympic gold medals and the World Cup with the U.S. women's national team. When we come back, America's oldest national park ranger finally retires at the age of 100.
I started screening for colon cancer because of my late husband, Jay. I wish he could have seen our daughter, Ellie, get married on the best day of her life. But colon cancer took him from us, like it's taken so many others. That's why I've made it my mission to talk about getting screened and ask people to share their reasons why.
I screen for my growing family. Being with them means everything to me.
I screen for my girls. They're always surprising me.
I screened for my son. I'm his biggest fan. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, it's time to screen. Today, there are more screening options than ever before, including Cologuard.
Cologuard is non-invasive and finds 92% of colon cancers, even in early stages. It's not for those at high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider if Cologuard is right for you.
Everyone has a reason to screen for colon cancer. If you're 45 or older, get started at missiontoscreen.com.
I'm over here waiting, looking intensely for a print that I never actually printed, so I don't have to deal with that terrifying pile of invoices.
Intuit QuickBooks helps you easily send your first invoice in 3 steps.
Simple.
In the future, we'll travel to incredible places with the help of magical technology. But what about today? I want my magical future now. I have places to go. Rocks to climb. Sights to see. And flights to catch. I can't wait for what tomorrow will bring. But in the meantime, let's enjoy the ride.
The world is full of make or break moments, especially if you have postmenopausal osteoporosis and a high risk for fracture. It's time to make your move to help reduce your risk of fracture with Prolia. Only Prolia is proven to help strengthen and protect bones from fracture with 1 shot every 6 months.
Do not take Prolia if you have low blood calcium, are pregnant, are allergic to it, or take Xgeva. Serious allergic reactions like low blood pressure, trouble breathing, throat tightness, face, lip, or tongue swelling, rash, itching, or hives have happened. Tell your doctor about dental problems, as severe jawbone problems may happen, or new or unusual pain in your hip, groin, or thigh, as unusual thigh bone fractures have occurred. Speak to your doctor before stopping, skipping, or delaying Prolia, as spine and other bone fractures have occurred. Prolia can cause serious side effects like low blood calcium, serious infections, which could need hospitalization, skin problems, and severe bone, joint, or muscle pain.
Don't wait for a break. Call your doctor now and ask how Prolia can help you.
If you're always asking, where next? Capital One has a new class of travel cards for you. Venture X. Earn 10x miles on hotels and 5x miles on flights booked through Capital One Travel. Venture X. What's in your wallet?
To the index and the end of an era. National Park Service Ranger Betty Reed Soskin has retired at the age of 100. America's oldest active ranger, a career she began at 85. She shared her remarkable stories at the Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historic Park in Richmond, California. Betty telling us on her 100th birthday it's important to revisit history as it was lived to measure how far we've come. When we come back here, the pets in need of a home and the school children making their case.
We all need a rock we can rely on, to be strong, to overcome anything. To be unstoppable. That's why millions rely on the strength and financial guidance of Prudential to achieve their dreams. Who's your rock?
Like pulsing electric shocks, sharp stabbing pains, or an intense burning sensation. What is this nightmare? It's how some people describe shingles, a painful blistering rash that can interrupt your life for weeks. Forget social events and weekend getaways. If you've had chickenpox, the virus that causes shingles is already inside of you. If you're 50 years or older, ask your doctor or pharmacist about shingles.
Introducing the world's first power load string trimmer with Line IQ technology. It loads the line automatically and keeps the line extended to maintain full trimming power. Ego is the #1 rated brand in cordless outdoor power, exclusively at Lowe's, Ace, and Ego authorized dealers.
My moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, the itching, the burning,
The stinging. My skin was no longer mine.
Emerge Tremfiant. With Tremfya, most people saw 90% clear skin at 16 weeks. The majority of people saw 90% clear skin even at 5 years. Tremfya is the first medication of its kind, also approved for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. And it's 6 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Serious allergic reactions may occur. Tremfya may increase your risk of infections and lower your ability to fight them. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, or if you had a vaccine or plan to.
Emerge Tremfiant with Tremfya. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today.
I'm Greg. I'm 68 years old. I do motivational speaking in addition to the substitute teaching. I honestly feel that that's my calling, to give back to younger people. I think most adults will start realizing that they don't recall things as quickly as they used to, or they don't remember things as vividly as they once did. I've been taking Prevagen for about 3 years now. People say to me periodically, man, you got a memory like an elephant. It's really, really helped me tremendously.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
I've covered a lot of twisted, dark stories, but I've never seen anything quite like this.
This is where the nightmare began.
Elise had asked, would horse tranquilizer kill a human being?
This is crazy.
2020, tonight on ABC.
Finally tonight, America Strong. The pets needing a new home and the school kids coming to the rescue. In Richmond, Virginia, Mrs. Jones' second graders at St. Michael's Episcopal School are hard at work on a very special assignment. Evan Warren at his desk. Henry Zhang holding up the finished product. The entire class with a persuasive writing assignment. Mrs. Jones teaching them about the local pets up for adoption at Richmond Animal Care and Control. Each getting to know a dog or cat and writing a letter from their point of view, complete with a drawing. Posting the letters at their shelter, hoping it would help get them adopted. Liza Jane Scherer smiling with her letter.
Hi, my name is Cody. I would love to be adopted. I want a loving, caring family with a big fenced-in yard. Please be my owner.
Parker Whithoff reading his.
Hello, my name is Missy. I like fenced-in yards and wide spaces. I like to eat treats. I love to run, and I'm very gentle. I want to be adopted. Will you adopt me?
Tonight, we're happy to report 20 pets from that assignment have now been adopted.
Give me kisses.
Romeo at his forever home with Angela Lewis.
Our hearts were taken when we read the stories that the St. Michael's kids wrote.
And 4 of the dogs still waiting.
Hey, this is Pebble. Good boy. Hi, Cody Cakes. What are you up to?
Christy Chips Peters, the director of the shelter with Yosemite.
He is available for adoption. And we'll love to go home with you today.
Tonight, that second grade teacher, Mrs. Kenzie Jones, and her hope.
I hope more teachers will take this idea and partner with their local animal shelter so that more animals can find their forever homes.
And Parker on the lesson, how it feels to help.
It makes me feel amazing because they have been in that shelter for almost all of their life. And it makes me feel just very good that they have forever homes.
Well done. And hopefully we can get those other pets adopted too. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Wade Johnson in New York. Have a great night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.
You could be anything you want to be. You can set this world on fire.
You came to sell the sharks. Now you got these two selling you.
Let's get it.
WCVB News Center.